coming all across the country. And HBCUs look forward to the month of October and just a little bit in November. But COVID won't let us be great this year. But that's okay. Clark Atlanta University alums, we know how to stay connected.
Dania, speaking of connection, guess who I ran into?
And who would that be?
Oh, an old friend.
A little bit more, please.
I ran into Mr. Gregory Sims, former SGA president, Mr. Batman. I had the opportunity to sit down with Batman to find out what he's been up to. Take a listen. Gregory Sims.
What's going on? Cam, what's going on with you, lady?
It's good to see you.
Good to be seen, and it's always good to be back at CAU, man.
Welcome home.
Hey, it's good to be home. So many good memories here, so many good people. You know, greatest time of my life, so it's always good to be back home.
Yeah. So you were here in the 90s when it was like our heyday.
Well, everybody say when they was here, it's their heyday, but I tend to agree with you on this one that the 90s was the heyday because it was new and fresh at CAU. We had gone through the transition, you know, from Clark College and AU to this new institution called Clark Atlanta University. So it was absolutely cool. It's cool to be back. I actually got an acceptance letter from Clark College and got here. It was CAU. So when you think back to the 90s, that's one of my freshest memories of thinking about coming to a totally different place.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. So in the 90s, you, well, I actually am a little bit younger than you. I came in 91, and I remember being on the yard and people were calling you Batman. Where did that come from?
Oh man, so you know when you first get to campus and you know people don't know your name, you know they just know where you're from and all these kind of things. They don't know what to call you, and so my roommate was a football player, and every day we hung out with all the football players, and I used to wear a lot of Batman shirts because if you remember in '89, that's when the Batman movie came out and Prince did the soundtrack and all of that. So every single day I had on a Batman shirt or shorts or something like that. So one day my roommate couldn't remember my name and he called me Batman. And so all the football players started to call me Batman. And then at the end of freshman week, we had our first football game at Morris Brown Stadium and the band played the Batman song. Wow. So I come to the football game with a Batman shirt on and I walk in and the band director points at me and says, "Play Batman." And of course they played the song and I started to dance on the wall while all the students were cheering. And so, as you know, the name always sticks. So when I hear the name, it's a term of endearment and it's only from Clarkites who were there in the early 90s. And those are the only people in the world who call me that, by the way. So, you know, that's what's up.
That's funny. I never knew that story. I always thought that you had some type of Batman signal in your dorm room. So that's where I thought it came from.
Well, it's funny that you say that because at the end of freshman week, I ran for freshman president against 14 fellow students, young ladies, and I had to do something to stand out. So I had a big curtain that I sprayed the black bat symbol on, you know, and I put it on Pfeiffer Hall, facing Thayer Hall, for everybody to see every day while the election was going on.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's stuck, and you know, it's a name that's never going away. So
you could probably say that name and the notoriety that you received kind of catapulted your way up to being student government president during that time.
Well, I mean, it definitely helped. I mean, they called me that the whole time I was here. Student leadership is something that they teach here at Clark Atlanta. It's an honor for me. I was not only the SGA president, I was freshman president when I came in. I was sophomore president. I took a year off and I didn't become junior president because I pledged Alpha my junior year. And then, you know, my senior year, I became SGA president. So for me, it's always an honor to serve at Clark. You meet a lot of people. You represent the students in front of the board and in front of the president. You get to travel on behalf of the student body to go to different institutions to represent Clark. So with this new, fresh institution and having that honor to represent, it's something that I took very seriously because I represented everybody and it was a lot of fun for me.
So this is homecoming season. October actually.
Yeah. So
when you were here in the 90s and you were SGA president during homecoming time, what was that like?
Well, it's two things. You know, you're asking when I was SGA president, what I think back to is it was a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work when you're the SGA president because you got to put on a parade, you got to put on a coronation, you got to put on a ball after the game, you've got to come down on the field during halftime. There's all these obligations that you have as a student body president, and you have to make sure all of that stuff goes off without a hitch. And so there's a lot of work with alumni relations and with the football team. So there's a lot of coordination that goes on. And I just remember, working with Jamal Coleman, my vice president at the time, and we had our homecoming at the Georgia Dome,
right.
Which now we have it at our own stadium. But back then, we either had it at Lakewood, and this was the first time for us having it at the Dome. We had a Mardi Gras theme. We had the Mardi Gras shirt with the panther busting out the Georgia Dome, glow in the dark shirt. And we had Kim Coles here for a comedy concert. We had a really good time that week. I just remember how exhausted I was at the end of the event, but you can look back and see how much fun everybody had. So for me, as part of that student leadership at Clark, for me, it was one of my fondest memories, homecoming.
A lot of work, but a lot of energy. Work hard, play hard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I did both. Most people will tell you, I busted my butt. I was in honors program and all of those kinds of things. I had, Clark sets you up. I did internships at IBM and at Exxon and at American Express while I was here. I got accepted to Harvard Business School as an undergrad at Clark Atlanta, so don't nobody tell me that Clark don't prepare you in the classroom to go off and to do things. I worked on Wall Street, as you remember, when I first graduated from Clark, so this place prepares you for leadership. And so for me, when I think about homecoming, for me, I like to throw away all the stuff that's going on in my life. I like to come back and hang out with the people who helped me, I believe, come out of this shell, because I was an introvert coming in here and I just totally took over. Yeah, see, people don't want to hear that, but in high school I wasn't that guy, but I came at Clark and I had an opportunity to just totally reinvent myself. And like you said, it's work hard and play hard. It's really the best time of my life. And so for me, that's what homecoming brings back for me, and that's what being at Clark Atlanta will always do for me.
So what was something that we may not know? What is your fondest memory about homecoming? Whether it be when you were SGA president or even as alumni, what was your fondest memory?
For me, at homecoming, they kind of mold together. I get excited about homecoming because for me, I get an opportunity to see professors. I get to see fellow classmates. I get to expose my friends and family to the CAU tradition. I get to really cut loose and just come back. I just have a blast when I come to homecoming. I know I've been somewhere, and I live in the city, but we start off on Thursday night at the party that you guys do for alumni, and then we go to the game, we go to the parade, we go have drinks, we go do dinner, we do stuff, all the stuff we keep saying that we're gonna put on the calendar and do and make time for it. We make time for it during homecoming. So for me, it's that when homecoming is over with, I know I had a good time around people who love me unconditionally, who knew me back then before I thought I was somebody, and who see me take these great strides with their help. So for me, it's always great coming home, and that's what homecoming and CAU and this whole thing means to me. I made the greatest choice in the world to come to one exceptional university, and I'll never forget it. I mean, that's what this whole thing means to me.
And it's family. I mean, coming home, you get to be with family, and I think that is awesome. So it was great catching up with you, Mr. Gregory Sims, aka Batman.
Thank you very,
and
very,
I'm sure
very
I'll
much.
See you soon.
CAU now, CAU forever.
It was great catching up with Mr. Greg Sims, aka Batman, and who knew that after all these years, people still call him Batman?
I know, it's crazy, but speaking about all these years, I had the opportunity to run into royalty. It took me back to the time when I was a student, as well as working at Clark Atlanta University and working with the Royal Court. I ran into Miss Clark Atlanta University herself, Terrace Rayford, from 96-97. So I have the privilege of being with the one and only Miss Clark Atlanta University, 96-97, Terrace.
Thank you. Hi, Dania.
So how you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So listen, we're doing homecoming
Yes.
virtually this year.
Yes.
But back in the 90s, we did it big.
Yes, we did.
So tell me, why did you want to be Miss Clark Atlanta University?
I think it began my freshman year. I was Miss Ware Hall, living in the best dorm, Ware Hall. And Charlene Curry was Miss CAU.
Okay.
And I really looked up to her. And I think it just sort of got me off to a good start in thinking, I really enjoy representing something on campus, whether it's a dormitory or the junior class. So every year I was a campus queen. My freshman year, Miss Ware Hall. My sophomore year, I was Miss Beckwith Hall.
Okay.
And then my junior year, Miss Junior. And so every year I had a chance to be on the court. And so it kind of just seemed inevitable that I would run for Miss CAU. At least for me, seemed inevitable that I would run. And I was also had pledged with you
Yes.
into Sigma chapter, Pearl Bearing Sigma chapter, Spring '95. And we always had a candidate or someone on the line who would run.
Well, I really think that we were always Miss Clark Atlanta. How many years did we hold
Oh,
that?
that's right.
Yeah.
Our line alone had 3 Miss CAUs.
Back to back.
Back
We were like
to-
the Lakers.
That's right, back to back to back.
We were like the Lakers.
That's right. Miss
For Miss CAU.
94, 95, 95, 96, and 96, 97 are all spring 95.
So when you were Miss CAU, you didn't get the opportunity to actually hang out on campus during homecoming. And that was from your freshman year up until being Miss CAU.
Yes, I probably experienced more, not to say freedom, but I was sort of on my own more during my freshman and sophomore years because other campus queens didn't participate in everything with Miss CAU and her court. But by the time I was Miss Junior, then yes, I was a part of Miss CAU's court. And so every night there was something for us to participate in. And by the time I was Miss CAU, for certain, it was every night with my court, going to the fashion show together, going to the step show together, going to, of course, coronation and then the game and the parade in the morning. So it was just nonstop.
So, got a little secret. So, Miss Clark Atlanta actually ended up getting a wardrobe stipend.
Yes.
But that wardrobe stipend showed up when Miss Terrace became Miss CAU. I mean, a whole wardrobe.
That's right.
And that kicked it off for you guys for us to make sure that you guys were always dressed impeccable. What did that feel like to know that the school loved you that much and embraced you enough to say, here? Because Miss CAU didn't really get a lot of perks per se leading up to your reign.
That's right.
So what did that feel like?
It felt great, and I mean, I had people like you advocating on the, behind the scenes, and so it was a blessing. You were working behind the scenes. You were very integral and instrumental to the coronation affair, and so I appreciated it. It elevated the court, and I'm glad to see that has continued. I say Miss Charlene, but Charlene Curry came back my year. I asked if she could come back and also sort of like be like a guide for me during my homecoming, stint. And so between her, you, Albert Brownlee, we had one of the best, I think, homecoming weeks and presentations that CAU has ever seen.
So now we go back to homecoming. You don't have you always will have the crown in your heart.
That's right.
But now you get to actually drop it.
That's right.
So tell me, how do you experience it now? Your first time coming back. What that felt like?
It felt great. I felt old school, as they say, and I had moved away from Atlanta for a while. I had come back, but I really hadn't been going back to the homecoming tailgate until maybe 10 years ago. And so to come be with my line sisters, we were celebrating various anniversaries together, to see all these classmates and people that I enjoyed the best years of my life. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Love
There's nothing like it.
So as we wrap up, it's 2 things I need you to do.
Yes.
First, I need to see the Miss CAU way.
Oh, sure. I can always see that.
I need that. Yes, royalty. And then a little known fact, we were both in fashion shows.
That's right.
Together for like 3-4 years.
That's right.
So we got to do one little walk.
Oh, gladly.
One little walk.
Gladly.
Just one little walk.
Gladly.
You ready?
Where is our point? When
That's
we get
our
to
point.
The bottom?
The point is at that line.
That line, okay.
That line. And we're
All
just
right.
going to half it
Okay.
and turn it off. You ready?
Yes.
Count of 1, 2, 3, and walk it. Got it. Walk past. So Kim, when you walked on campus as a freshman, what was the first thing someone asked you?
Where are you from?
I said Memphis. What did you say?
Cleveland.
So Memphis raised me, but CAU made me.
And Cleveland raised me, but CAU made me.
You can actually rep your city and your school all at the same time on one shirt.
Order your shirts today by clicking on the link below.
You got them for men too.
Men do. We got you.
Glitter or no glitter. Get your shirt.
Today.